Okay, you're good to go.
All right. Hello, I'm Pat Menges. I've been teaching here with the Williamsport School District now for 13 years. Been in 8th grade that entire time. We started WordGen 3 years ago. We piloted a year, and then we've been on the ground and running here for 2 years. This is U.S. History 1, an 8th grade classroom. The class that you just saw was an honors classroom. We do WordGen with all 6 of our classes. That includes 2 inclusion classes, 2 inclusion classes, one academic class is what that normally, or 2 academic classes, 2 honors, and 2 inclusion. Sorry, Dr. Ross interrupted.
Okay.
Was about ready. Okay, that is true. So they're the 2 main ones that we talked about. Technically, there are other areas, other situations, other times. Somebody mentioned court earlier. Technically, I mean, you watch any of Judge Judy, she'll tell the person when she's had enough of them talking. So it's all situational, but we specifically talked about school and then home as well. All right, so as I talked to you earlier about our guests today, I'm not going to lie, our guest from Sayre, my kids asked this week, where is Sayre? So they had no idea where it was, but I explained to the best of my ability where you were at. Do you guys actually border New York or not?
Yes.
You border New York State, okay. All right, so I was right. When it comes to our WordGen packet today, it's going to be no different than any other day. One of the things that we need to take a look at is our normal social studies WordGen page today. So go ahead, take a look at that. I want to clarify our options today. So you've been looking at this topic all week. Should the U.S. have stricter gun regulations? But then when we take a look at the debate, the issue, we kind of have it turned a little bit. Option A, guns should not be regulated. So I kind of want to clarify that this is your pretty conservative, extreme, pro-gun stance. All right? And then option B, certain guns should be regulated. So this can actually be a little middle ground here when it comes to option B. All right, and then option C, guns altogether, doesn't matter what type of gun, we need to get them out of the hands of citizens, and that's a pretty extreme anti-gun angle. All right, and then as always, you got to create your own, but just kind of keep in mind B is somewhat middle ground as you make your points this morning. So if you need to refer back to that paper we used yesterday, also it did become homework if you did not get it done. Take a look at that chart as well. All right, take a look at that chart as well. At this point, go ahead, get your points down. I'm not expecting that you copy word for word from your homework. You can even summarize from your homework, but get at least 3 points down. And then you can also take your homework with you if and when you have to move. So as you're finishing up, just a couple reminders about today. Again, as you make your points, add to somebody else's point, clarify something. We have our words up here. If we can work them in, that's beneficial to the word gen process. So if you need to refer to them, they're up there. They're also on your paper too at the top of the page. So don't be afraid to try and use them correctly. And as usual, as I stated earlier, I'll hold up my end of the bargain. We get a word or two used correctly, we'll have some starburst headed your way, either at the end of the period or tomorrow. So kind of keep that in mind with the word gen points. Also, when we do our split today, with word gen, I've talked to you about this before. From week to week, we never know how the split's going to be. It doesn't always have to be equal, but then again, you're also looking for some sort of a balance for these points to be explained. We'll see what the balance looks like. If we are lopsided, what we'll do, again, I'll ask you if there's anybody that feels solid enough about the topic in general that you could bring up points from the other side. Nobody is asking you to change your point of view. Nobody is asking you to be a traitor, a Benedict Arnold of switching sides. You can preface your beliefs at the very beginning. Actually, I am very much pro-gun. However, I understand the topic enough that I can see why an anti-gun person wouldn't accept that, for example, and then go from there. So keep in mind that you're more than welcome, if you do switch sides, that you can preface that with saying what your original belief is. Let's go ahead and with side A. I'd like my side A people to start off over here for side A. My side B people, I'd like you over here, and my B and C actually over here. My create your owns kind of in the middle. My B and C over here, create your owns kind of in the middle. And if you got to wrap around the corners, that's fine. Find a seat if you can. If that means pulling a chair, pull a chair. Any pull-out seats?
Are you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, I am.
All right. I think this is a split we can work with this morning. I think it's something that we can go with. Again, if you need to clarify over here whether or not you're a B, C, or create your own, definitely feel free to do that as well. All right? So that's something that you can do. All right, so this is one of those topics to where there could be strong opinions on either side. Obviously, that these opinions reflected are opinions, thoughts. Getting frustrated, getting angry is not one of the things that we're looking to do. Also, I think I say this every time we do word gen. You guys at times are at a disadvantage because you're such a big class. So having to give opportunities to speak is something that is a little tricky. You got to self-reflect. If you find yourself talking a lot while others want to talk, maybe you want to back off once you've had an opportunity to talk. However, if nobody from that opposing side is saying much, then sure, go ahead. So by now you guys know how to do it. So anybody want to start off? I'll pick the first person and then we'll go from there. Once the discussion gets going and it starts to die down, I do have some discussion questions up here. It's the same thing that I say to you in WordGen. I just put them in a PowerPoint format today. So eventually we'll go to them after a while. I am going to put 10 minutes on the clock to start with. We'll see if we need more time or if 10 minutes will be sufficient today. All right, go ahead, Brown, start us off.
Alright, I'm side B, and I see this because, some guns, like, not all guns kill people, it's just, they could help too. Like if someone's in danger and someone else has a gun, they can help save the opposition zone.
I see your point there, especially with certain weapons you said. They can help people, but it seems to be the main topic here about mass genocide, because the term shooting is not even correct, or correct English in general. But the fact is, what if we had different weapons? I really wanted to ask this question. What is your initial thought when someone buys a fully automatic weapon from the store? Do you immediately think, oh, they're going to commit mass genocide? Because that seems to be a common question in the videos we watch. Oh, someone buys a gun, they're going to kill a bunch of people. I love weapons of any kind, and I just don't see how that thought just runs through a lot of what side B and C is.
That's why I chose side B, because I feel like they're watching me at the same time. They should be
So automatic.
in either way.
Yeah, like what is the purpose to have that?
Sports.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No, you mean like sports shooting, like target shooting? Okay, just because when you say sports, that confuses a lot of people. Sporting shooting, but
But still, like I don't know what the purpose is because, like, yeah, some people that buy them are probably not going to go shoot up a school or any building. But like, it's just not worth the risk.
so far so good with our discussion. Just one thing I can hear. However, just for our guests in the room, if you guys could maybe take the volume up a little bit. Nat, you're good. You don't get louder.
Okay.
Alright, no one else's. Are you aware of the consequences that will most likely happen if you would like to ban certain weapons? Because there's going to be a large amount of riots, or I'm just going to be extreme, but if you're going to try to ban fully automatic weapons, that's just going to lead to more violence. And it doesn't matter if we use weapons, because I'm just going to generalize here. I want to guess most of the people, not all, on your side have never actually fired a weapon or understand the power. I know that some of you, I'm just generalizing. You understand the power that is behind that piece of metal. That is the only reason we're here today. That is a revolutionary in technology. Without it, we wouldn't have various things today. Or, I can't give a good example, but we use weapons as, it's a fundamental of humanity. We are warlike, we are violent, and nothing's going to change that. I think we said in another discussion. But the technologies we've made just to progress, weaponized, has helped things in the civilian era and in the workforce.
I don't think that they should be banned. I think that there should be more rules to having a weapon or a gun. Because, like, say somebody has a gun and they never committed a crime before, but they just came into somewhere where guns are allowed and they just started killing people.
Is that your initial thought? If someone has a gun, they're going to kill people?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if they're innocent and they own a gun and one day they just have a bad day, they're just going to go somewhere and kill someone with a gun. So some of the rules should change it.
Are you C or B? Like you
I'm B.
Yeah, one of the things after kind of listening initially, my people that are side B, you're kind of middle of the road. Anybody want to share why you aren't ready to go side A or side C? Want to talk about that a little bit? Go Hughes. You.
I said I'm not gonna go.
Speak up.
Oh, I said I'm not gonna go like see like gun shit or like gun should be able to, because people at the end of the day still need to protect themselves. Like women, like you're not just like women, but this is just an example. If you're living by yourself, like that's kind of like scary. Like anybody like can break into your house or anything. And I feel like making guns illegal, like I feel like it would just cause more trouble. Like the importation rates, like of the guns going into other countries will get higher and stuff like that.
Anybody else from side B? A couple of you raised your hands. Go ahead, talk.
So, I didn't go over to A because guns like RPGs shouldn't be out available for everybody because it could blow up whole buildings.
Okay, and currently those sort of weapons are very limited. In fact, out of civilian use, as far as I know, I'm no weapons expert, but that's not even an option for a rocket-propelled grenade right now. But maybe Dane used the reference of automatic weapons, for example, which are not widely allowed to be possessed. So you're saying we need to watch what sort of guns civilians have, even for collecting, shooting needs, things like that. What do you think, Alyssa?
I'm kind of in B, but I'm kind of a create your own.
Okay.
Because I don't think that we should just take away guns because at the end of the day, like, I think Noah said it, people kill people, not the guns. But I feel like the cops or like the law should be more strict because they can say that they're like strict and all, but like there's so many shootings that have happened in Williamsport and the people haven't even been like caught or like taken. So we're not, and like the cops, I feel like they're not even trying, and I might be wrong, but like as an outsider it doesn't look like they're doing much, so that's what I say.
Okay.
I kind of agree with Kyra. Well, I do agree with Kyra and Dane because, like, there should be, like, not everybody should be able to own a gun because some people, like, will take advantage of it. Like, once somebody has the power, like, and they see a gun as power, then they're going to try to use it. But, like, not everyone is going to try to kill someone. And you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I feel like if you go to get like your gun license and stuff like that, like you should get a psych evaluation. Like, it should be a psychiatrist thing.
Yeah.
Because I know like when my boyfriend and we were just sure to go get his gun license and his license to carry, they're like they checked his background, but that was it.
Yeah, so remember the background check that we talked about earlier does look at the criminal side of things, but also if there's any history of mental health, and that varies in severity. However, there have been proponents of gun control say, why don't we expand that a little bit? If we go to our discussion here, hold on, let me stop at this one. Will more gun control laws prevent criminals from obtaining guns or breaking the law? And I'm guessing this side might have some opinions of that. So how about somebody that hasn't had a chance to talk yet? Go ahead.
No, it wouldn't keep them because, as you know, there's a black market and like people can like import it from other countries and get them from all over the place, and people might be like selling them illegally, and no one would ever find out that they're getting these guns, and no, the law cannot stop that.
So kind of what Ashton's saying, like if people have guns and they're importing them illegally and we have no self-defense against it, that like we're going to, like I feel like even more like gun shootings would happen if they knew nobody had protection against them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Some common ground then?
At first, I was A, and for my homework, I wrote down that, like, protecting themselves, but, no, that's not enough, hold on.
If you want to, you can think.
Yes,
You want
I'm gonna think about
to?
it.
Okay, all right.
I like this case.
Put her up.
Is that your, for a lot of side B, is your initial thought someone has a bad day, they're gonna kill somebody? That's not how, no, someone just said that, like, is that the initial thought?
No, I
And
just
when she
used it
said that,
as
I
an
don't think that she
example.
was intentionally saying that, like, oh, somebody's gonna get a gun, they're gonna kill it. I don't think that was her motive.
Like Peppa
Yeah,
said.
I think for self-defense, like, it should be to an extent, like, they shouldn't just be able to have it out, they should have it somewhere they know it is, but not everybody else knows where it is. Like, the person who has it, they should know where it is, and they should keep it locked up. Keep it locked up until they need it.
I agree with Sydney. Like with self-defense, people dominantly use handguns, and they would use ARs, like automatic, and that's why automatics should be banned, because the only thing you could use it for is at a shooting range or in some public event where you could shoot at people.
All right. One of the other questions I have for you, up here, kind of goes along with the theme of actually having the gun and for what purpose. The president, this is after a mass shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School. The president of the NRA stated the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun.
Yes, I agree with that.
I agree with that 100%.
Like the thing that happened at the church.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, so does somebody, for somebody that's not familiar with that church example, Cole, maybe if you're familiar, do you want to talk about just what generally happened there?
So someone that has been going to church a lot had a gun with him, and he decided during a session, and I don't know what they were doing, he pulled out the gun and started firing it and killed, did he kill someone?
He shot multiple, one person did end up dying, I
And
believe,
so then
not two.
someone with a gun, firearm, pulled it out and shot him, killed him, which saved lives. Because
Robertson, you haven't had a chance to talk yet.
When we were doing our website yesterday, it said that guns are used 2.5 million times a year for self-defense. And let's say you're in a situation where you don't, like Cole said, that someone's there and then you don't have any way to protect yourself and you're all gone. You need a gun to protect yourself, and that's why it's used 2.5 million times a year for self-defense. That's what it's used for.
I'm kind of in the middle of A and B because I agree with what you say. Because some weapons, they won't help against self-defense. But guns, they're the best, I don't know how to say it, like they're the best thing to protect yourself, I guess so.
I feel like that's what side B is saying, like, not to get rid of like all the guns for self-defense, but like guns that just like you don't need them, like big guns that do like a lot of damage, like that, you don't need that just for self-defense. Like,
What about the guns that people use for hunting? Like, are you saying to get rid of those because like hunting you use like bigger guns?
But no,
No,
it's
but
just
not
the
like
ones that it's bigger, like
Not
it's
Well,
like
it doesn't matter, it's fully automatic. It's-
Trinity, why don't you expand on that? You're on the right track. You're good. So what, did I put you on the spot? So it's bullet capacity. For everybody in the room, she did mumble that. She did say that.
yeah.
Bullet capacities, okay.
Bullet capacity doesn't matter. The same caliber is the same caliber. Even if the receiver can shoot multiple rounds in a various amount of time, that does not mean it does more damage. It's just consecutive amount at a point in time. You can't take those away. No, that's not gonna happen. You can't just go up to police can't go to someone's door, say, hey, give me every single thing you got. No, do you know the amount of people who are going to fight against that?
But I don't think that nobody on side B is saying that.
I know, but that's not, I didn't get to my full point yet. To have fully enough weapons, people love them. I may not own one, as long as I'm not old enough. With my dad, he lets me use anything. We always, about every weekend, we always fired for weapons. In the past year alone, I've learned to use various different others. But does it really matter if it's automatic or not? Like, you can't just take those away from people. I know you're not trying to. That's not your complete point, but just to take them away completely, doesn't that seem like a bit irrational?
And what we're hearing this morning is a pretty deep division in our country. This is you guys disagreeing is nothing that isn't happening in our country. That division on, okay, first of all, there was a time where we weren't allowed to have those guns. That assault weapons ban ended, and now they are available to buy at gun stores. But now, how do you walk back from that? That makes it very difficult. This next question branches off of the first one we did. All right, the concept or quote all right, the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Would you feel safer at school having a police officer there? And the reason I put the every school, we do have police that rotate. We do have police that rotate from school to school. Would you feel safer with that? And if having a police officer because of staffing is not a possibility, then arming teachers, all right? I'm bringing it up, all right? We're just talking about it. Thoughts on that? Again, kind of be a little bit courteous of those that haven't said much to start with, all right?
Oh, Joe.
Huh?
You're good, Joe. Oh, you weren't? Trinity?
I don't think that I feel safer with armed teachers. Like, what if they get mad at you?
Okay.
I don't know. Like having an officer at every school, I feel like I just
What's the, and a lot of people have said that, what's the difference between the two then in your minds? I think I know what you're gonna say, but I just wanna hear you guys say it. Grievy, you haven't talked yet, go ahead.
Like police officers are trained to like deal in that kind of situation. Like, yeah, they're like, they kind of know what to do in like high risk situations. I feel like teachers would just kind of like go above.
Hughes, go ahead and mention that point that you
Like,
just said.
teachers
Yeah.
wouldn't just have it, like, they would be trained, like, at the highest level, like,
Yeah.
they wouldn't just be like, oh, here a gun, like, if a bad guy comes and shoot him, like, it wouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
Wait,
I feel I feel like buying a gun, like, if you want to get a more dominant gun, then you should have to go through more steps to get it.
I
Yeah,
feel like we
that's,
shouldn't
that's
just go to that
reasonable.
point, cause like
Yes.
if there's one
That's pretty
armed
much what
teacher,
it
then
is.
like more and more teachers are gonna want that, like,
I feel like it's
want
Would
that.
you feel, I have a question, would you feel safer having one armed policeman or like several armed teachers?
I feel like it would be
I don't
easier
like-
for like
And I don't think they would have the gun on them, like, it would be in the safe
But
zone.
with the
Yeah,
teachers
but
having them, what if like
eventually
a shooter comes and then they get scared and nervous and then they get.
That's part of their training though.
That's the thing.
But no
That's
matter
what
how much
happens in
training
a
you have,
situation.
it doesn't actually.
Like, it's not just a one-day training, okay, so the kid did this, like, it's not like that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with this safe area thing. Like, one consecutive area. Like, if we do, my old school, we did have a trained police officer or a few that would rotate every, I guess, few hours or blocks or something, like going to be in at 1 hour. I had that, and armed teachers, yeah, that would be a big step, if that's not a thing. But, yeah, the idea of having a secure location in case of a break-in. But does the rise of crime recently, does that really have anything to do with the gun violence? It has nothing. Like, what if we never use guns? What if we use weird glorified crossbows as our main form of weapon because we didn't invent it back in the 1400s? Like,
And I
with that,
feel like that would be different, but that's not.
even then, it's the same thing. You still ban a weapon just because it can cause more damage than, like, maybe a sword or, as I
Crime
said,
is crime, like,
To kind of bring, sorry to interrupt, but to try and bring Word Gen to a close, at the video that we took a look at this week, you know, there were definitely different opinions, even in that video that we watched with the adults. Does anybody remember what they said at least is a step in the right direction? What did they say that they, no matter what side, whether you were definitely very much pro-gun or anti-gun, what did they say that step in the right direction was, Hunter?
Agreeing on some stuff.
Agreeing on some stuff, but doing what? Yeah, there's a little middle ground there, but by, Amir?
putting themselves in the other person's shoes.
And talking about it, all right? Being willing to sit down and talk about it. Not having that discussion that's not even a starter. So by what you guys were doing today, there's many people that feel that our government needs to take bigger steps to do what you guys just did in a half hour, all right? To maybe continue talking about that in that discussion. And of course there's gonna be disagreement, absolutely. You guys, in my opinion, hit it out of the park today by the discussion, by the facts you used. Very nice job with that. So go ahead and move back to your seats.
It's a wrap.
Thank you.